Right, in today's video, there's two things I'm going to do. One, I'm going to explain about the door dropping and a solution to sort that so it doesn't. And secondly, I'm going to show you the damage that it causes, and I'm going to replace the damaged part. So to kick off with the solution, the door itself drops only marginally. It's only a couple of millimeters, if that. But it causes damage to the sill trim, which I'll show you in a minute. But what I came up with is just a polystyrene, it's high impact polystyrene. It's the type of stuff that you'd use on a vacuum former. And it's about 1.6 millimeters, something like that. It's not very thick. It's not very thick. And I was laser cutting them into a shape that you could undo the bolts and you could slide them in. Now I'm going to show you on the car where mine is, because mine's been fitted for a couple of years. But I've got some examples here. These are sort of unsold ones because I didn't want to give them to people because they were tarnished or burned by the laser cutter. But they would work absolutely fine. There's absolutely nothing wrong with them. And to be honest, when you fit them, you can barely see them anyway. So it doesn't really matter. Just some that I've got left over. So here they are, in various colours, and you can see how thin they are, and they slide in where the hinge is. And if you can imagine that tracking along from the hinge along the door, by the end of the door you've got enough to it's going to raise the door a couple of millimeters, enough to clear and take it back to where it was. Now, I'm in the understanding that, or of the understanding that there is a more proper solution, and that is that you take the wing off, and there's some sort of adjustment on the other side of the hinge. That is not something that I've got experience with. It's not something I've ever done. And for most people, including myself, taking the front bumper off, taking the wing off, taking the arch lining out to adjust the door, it's just not something that I want to do when I can undo two bolts slightly, enough that I can just lift the door touch and slide that shim in. And I'm almost certain that this was actually a solution from Audi. I've seen somewhere some metal shims on Etka that were possibly used as a solution for Audi when they maybe noticed that this was an issue. So, you know, you could make your own. If you've got some sort of plastic that you've got that's thin enough and you wanted to cut a shim out of that, you could. I was selling these and I must have sold hundreds of them, and I've never had one person come back and say that it didn't work. So I can only assume that it did, because people like to complain, obviously. So it's just a neat solution to a problem that a lot of us have seen on the TTs. So I'm going to show you where it causes damage, where they fit, and how you do it. I'm not going to undo mine. It's literally two bolts. I can show you without actually doing it. And I'm going to show you the damage it causes, and I'm also going to replace the trim. I'm confident now that it's not catching, so I'm happy to put a new trim on that I've managed to find off one of the lads on the forum. Thanks for that, by the way. A new old stock trim where it's become scratched. I'll show you that in a minute. The first thing I need to do, though, is I need to move the car. It's in a position where I'm not really going to be able to open the door very well and get in proper access. So I'll get the car turned round, open the door, and then I'll show you exactly what I'm on about. Right, okay, here we go. So this shim here needs to go into that bottom hinge. Now the one I've got is black. You can just see it along that bottom edge there where the white one is pushing up against. It is that small, but it's enough to raise up the door. And the damage mine caused, if you look along here, is this. So it scratched all of that and it caused that mark there. And I've seen quite a few TTs with the same markings. I've seen some with rubbing on here, down that edge, but mainly along here. And you can see it's scratched it quite a bit. Mainly here. And it actually started to rust the bottom of the door. Not enough that it couldn't be treated and taken back and primed properly and protected, but it certainly started to take away from there. So you can see that. So that's the next thing to do, is to change this. Now I've no idea how it comes off yet, but I'm going to set the camera up and give it a go and hopefully get it away off here. Well, wish me luck. Right, okay, do you know what it is? I hate taking trims off like that. So, I think this has been off before, because there's some tape on there that's not factory, so that's probably helped me in some respects. But you kind of have to take off the inner trim, plastic trim as well, to get the door seal off, and in doing that, I've bust that one. But I'm not too fussed, to be honest, because I really want to find a new one of those as well, or a much better condition one of those. So it is what it is. I can live with it for now, and at least I don't have to take this one off to change the new one off to change the one that I've now broken. So I'm not that fussed, it's fine. It's not ideal, but it is what it is. So I'll show you what it looks like on the body of the car, and I'll show you what the underside of the trim looks like, and I'll show you the new trim, and we'll go from there. I'm gonna have to clean things up anyway. So you've got these 3 holes here. They're just like rubber bungs actually, and then obviously this is scruffy, so this is all going to be cleaned up. This is all wanting to be removed here, and then there's one down there, that white one there, that needs taken out. You can see how I've pulled the trim off here, but in doing so, you can't take this off until you take that off, and I've cracked that. But it'll be fine. It was scratched anyway down here, and a few scratches along there. So to be honest, yeah, it's not the end of the world. So I'll change that. And then the underside of this, I've actually managed to do it without busting all the clips, because the clips are here. That's one. So that will go into, on the new one, that'll go into there somehow. Like that. And then there's 2 or 3 more here. So there's one there, that one there, that, and then one there, and then one there, which is the one that's still in the car. So you can see the damaged again, and then here's the new one to go on. And then this has got all the original tape on it, ready to go on there, ready to peel off. So I'm going to clean myself up, because obviously every job you do on one of these cars you end up cut and bleeding. So I'm going to do that, clean all this up, and then reassemble and put this back in. There's a clip left in there, these horrible metal clips, God's sake. there's one that's come out there, so I'll take that out, put that back in. I mean, that crack, you know what, you probably, yeah, you will see it, that's a lie, but that's fine. And put that back and get that white one out there. So yeah, I'll set the camera back up, clean it all up, go from there. Okay, right, so it took ages that. I'm going to leave it for tonight, but this is all cleaned up now. I can do a little bit better, but it's pretty good. A little bit of alcohol rub does wonders to get this sticky stuff off, but it's a pig. They're all good, and I've got 3 clips there. There's one there, and one down there that is the same as the one from up here. But I bust that one when I took that one out. So I'm going to leave it for today. I'm going to get a new clip to go down there. And I'm going to have to source one from one of the breakers. Adam Tankard is a good shout for that. So I'll give him a message and see if I can get one of those. I'll ask him if he's got one of these in good condition for now. Anyway, before I find like a new old stock one. And that can be replaced at the same time. These are really handy. I think I bought these from Euro Car Parts a few years back, and they're really handy for getting the trims off. Doesn't guarantee you won't break things, but it'll definitely stop you from scratching the metal, that's for sure. To take this off, you've got to take this one off. It's only one Torx T20, I think, and the latch for the bonnet, so I just done, there's 2 screws for that. They're not even Torx bits, they're just screws, so 2 screws for that, and then the Torx bit from that, and then you pull that away, and then you slide it off, and then you can take this off, and that means you just lift that out of the way, that you can lift this up, and it just means you get right in there. I've still got a bit of this sticky stuff to take off, which I will do. So rather than rush the job, I'm gonna leave it at night, get on to Adam about one of the little fixings for there, because I'd rather have all the fixings if I'm honest. I'm sure, you know, people say, oh, we'll be all right with one missing. Yeah, probably will be, but I know that it's missing, so I want it sorted. So, yeah, so that's pretty good for now. I'm pretty happy with that. It's nice to see when you take stuff off like this that there's no damage, and that nothing's been you know, in an accident and things. I mean, this car's definitely had bits of paint here and there, but I mean, there's not many cars that are 20-year-old that haven't, to be honest. But that's definitely good. I can get rid of all these markings and stuff. I'll spend a little bit of time with some cleaner and get all this tidied up so there's not a dirty edge around the new trim. Yeah, but just to reiterate that, what I said about that spacer, the spacer that goes in here, to fit that avoids adjusting anything beyond the wing or behind the wing that I'm led to believe that you can do in order to do the same job. And you know, it would be nice to do that and to do it properly like that, but like I said before, I'm pretty sure Audi did at some point have some sort of shim part going on to do the same job, and I've never personally adjusted any door from inside the wing, so whether it is doable from there or not, I don't know. But this little solution does work, and can help reduce or eliminate the scuffing that you get on here, on the plastic. So yeah, so anyway, I'll get the bits I need and do a little bit of more tidying up, and the next time you see a video, I'll be refitting the part, a new part this time. Right, okay, so it's a few days later now. Adam, one of the breakers that I use, he's great. He sent me a couple of bungs and a couple of clips, because one of the clips was smashed and one of the little green bungs, rubber bungs, was missing that the clip goes into. So he sent me some of those. I'll show you what they look like, because you can't really see them when they're in the hole. I've spent a little bit of time with some alcohol rub, giving it one last clean down so the sticky tape sticks, and just cleaned around where the edges of the sill trim go, where the paint's darkened a little bit, and it's as good as I'm going to get it. Anyway, so it's ready to put the trim on. Here's what the bungs look like. Just here, little green rubber bungs that go into the holes in the sill, and then you've got the little plastic clips. So that one's fitted in there. That's all cleaned up as good as I'm going to get it anyway. And there's those three on there. And then, yeah, that's all ready. And then in the back, we've got the new trim. The 3 clips are in there. I've got that one in there like that. So I just need to peel the tape off and then remount the trim, and that should be good. So I'll set the camera up again and refit it all, and that should be finished. Okay, right, that's the trim fitted. Now, I need to be honest here, there's a little bit of a problem with buying new old stock. When you think about things like the tape that's on the underside, some of these parts might be 5, 10, possibly older, years old. And things like sticky tape and things, it obviously loses its stick, or the sort of age just sitting on a shelf. So I've gone to peel off the backing of the tape, the sticky tape, and it's just snapping every millimetre, snapping and snapping. So I've managed to get off as much as I could, but it was nigh on impossible to get off. So really, what the best way to do it would be to peel all that off without damaging the back of the plastic sill trim, and then put new stuff down. I imagine that would be quite difficult. So what I've had to do really is just fit it with a little bit of tape that I managed to expose, and then the 3 clips at the back and the 1 at the front. Now, there might be a bit of a blessing in this, in that if I ever want to take it off, because I maybe need to paint the car, there is some blemishes here and there that I'd quite like to have done. If I do want to take the trim off, taking it off with the sticky tape all on would have made that very, very difficult, and getting it off without damaging it would have been almost impossible. So there is that silver lining and all that. So it does feel secure with just the 3 clips and the clip at the front. And it looks absolutely great. I'll show you. That looks much better than it did, I think. Much better. And it's obviously unscratched, and it feels secure. You know, that's all good. So you know, there's that crack there, which is stupid of me really, but the trim does need changing. There's a few scuffs and stuff on it, so it'd be nice to get a new one of those. I haven't fitted this back on, it's only 2 screws, because I've got a video coming where I change the bonnet cable, because there's some stretch in the cable and it's becoming increasingly difficult to pop the bonnet. So keep an eye out, that video will be coming out in the next couple of weeks. But yeah, that pretty much concludes that video. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you've enjoyed it, give it a like. If you want to see more content, like the bonnet catch or the bonnet cable that I've just mentioned, maybe subscribe to the channel, and you'll be able to keep up to date. Anyway, thanks very much for watching. Cheers.